Hi there, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's APTU. Today we will be discussing two ways of importing picking locations into Advanced Pro. The first way we'll cover is on a product import, where we'll associate the new product with default locations as we set up the product in Advanced Pro. And the second way that we'll be covering today is on a picking location Excel import, where we simply add picking locations into our warehouse separate from any product. We will be taking any questions at the end, so if you do have a question and you happen to be watching live, feel free to enter it into the live chat available just to the right of the video if you're watching live on YouTube, and just below the video if you're watching on advancedprotech.com. We do APTU sessions live every week on a variety of Advanced Pro and inventory management topics at noon Eastern Time. So if you would like to learn more about Advanced Pro, feel free to tune in every Wednesday at noon right here. And we do have our full archive of APTU videos on advancedprotech.com under the Resources tab or on our YouTube channel. So we're going to start with an Excel file. And here I happen to have it loaded up in... Actually, in Google Sheets, we have this set up. So we're just going to go ahead and set this over. Here we go. So we have our picking location import, and we also have our product import. So we're going to start off with the product import. Now I have it set up here. Now there's several columns here, some of which have to do with picking location imports and some of which won't. So the SKU and the product name are going to be required anytime we're dealing with product imports. You'll see we've just set up some sample SKUs. And at this point, we can also import other non-picking location related things, such as our cost price and the vendor that we purchased this product from, and our sale price, and all kinds of other fields. Now, one thing to note is I haven't used the space character in my headings. I've used underscores, and that's an important limitation with Advanced Pros. You just want to make sure that you're not using the space character. So you can either make it one word, or you can use an underscore. That's just in the top line. Now, a couple other things to note is if you want to use formulas for any of this, you absolutely can. Just make sure that before you finish up that you highlight your whole sheet and just copy it and paste it using paste special. And there is a paste special for paste values, and that's just going to clear out any formulas and give you the actual values. And that way Advanced Pro is going to be able to bring that in. If you have any other difficulties, one of the best ways to troubleshoot is just by switching between the XLS and XLSX formats. There's a couple ways that you can make sure that this can be brought into Advanced Pro. You also might want to clear out any special formatting. Now, for today, we're not going to be covering picking location setup or product setup in depth. So if you're looking to learn more about those in depth, I do recommend taking a look at our previous videos on those topics. Today we're just going to be talking about importing the locations from spreadsheets. So let's dive right in. I should mention that this particular method that we're going to start with is best if you're creating a new product for the first time in Advanced Pro or for the first time in a particular warehouse. And you need to either create new locations or assign a pre-existing location to that product as the default location for that product. So we have all these various headers. Now, these three in the middle we can mostly ignore. We're mostly going to be concerned with the SKU and the product name and the warehouse and the picking location. And if you're not using multiple warehouses, you can disregard the the warehouse column. That can actually be excluded. But what this allows Advanced Pro to do is go ahead and check if a picking location with this particular name exists in this particular warehouse. And if it does, it'll just go ahead and associate this picking location to the product. But if it doesn't, it will create this picking location in this warehouse and then associate it to the product. So just a little bit of nuance as to that warehouse column. Now, the picking location always exists in a particular warehouse. So you may have this picking location in another warehouse. And just beware of that. You may actually wind up duplicating your picking locations if you don't set the correct warehouse. Now, a couple other notes as far as the picking location. You can use any picking location format that you want. You can think of this as section, row, bin as what we've done today, but you can easily do this for any kind of format you want. You don't have to stick to any particular format. And this will also dictate any picking location barcodes that you're going to be using. Okay, you can see I've just gone ahead and put in hyphens with these kind of 3 pairs of characters. You can do whatever you like. Okay, so now that we've got this kind of set up and we understand what's about to happen, we are going to go into our product import and actually perform the import. Now, one thing to note about the import is the first thing the import's going to look at is, does the product exist? And it's going to use the SKU to do that. So as we're running Advanced Pro, we start to do the product import. It's going to look at the SKU, and if the SKU already exists, it's just going to go ahead and update this information. But if the SKU is new, if it doesn't already exist in Advanced Pro, it's going to go through and it's going to create the product with this information. One thing to note is it will never ever delete product on an import. So if it's missing any SKUs from an Excel spreadsheet, you don't have to worry. It's just going to go ahead and create any new ones. It won't delete ones that are missing. Okay, so we're going to switch back over to Advanced Pro. And one quick thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into admin. And the first thing I recommend if you're going to be doing any kind of Excel imports is go into utilities, just go into database and run a backup. So you'll have a backup button available to you. If you see this grayed out, that means you may not be in as an administrator, or if you're using a server client setup that you're not on the server. But go ahead and back up Advanced Pro before you go ahead and do an Excel import export. Okay, we're going to head over to Excel import export, and we're going to go to import products, and we're just going to browse for our file. And at this point, I'm going to choose our product import file, which I've downloaded. So what it's going to do is it's going to go look at that file, and it's going to pull the headers, the top row, the column names into Advanced Pro. And they don't have to match initially, because what we're going to do is we're just going to choose the header in our Excel file and the name of the field in Advanced Pro, and we're going to map them together. So we're just going to repeat that for each column that we care about. If we have some columns we don't care about for our purposes, we don't have to bring them in today. I'm just going to go ahead and grab warehouse, and then I would come down and check off the warehouse field, and we can do the same for picking location. Okay. Once I've got all my mappings correct in the way that I'm happy with, we can go ahead and click the next button. And at this point, we're going to be able to just go in and just double check our mappings. So here you can see they're now lined up what we took out of our Excel file with what we're going to place that information in Advanced Pro. And if we see a mismatch, we can just double check, we can unmap, and we can click the Map Fields tab just to go back and reset that. Once we're happy, we just click the Import button. It will import all of these fields to our specifications from our Excel file into Advanced Pro. And that's how we do a picking location import on the product import. That's going to go ahead and create products or associate products with these picking locations as the default if they don't already have a default location. So that's the first area we wanted to cover. Now next we're going to be covering how to import picking locations just by themselves, not associated to any particular product. We're going to switch back over to our spreadsheet. And at this point, you'll see we're now on the picking location import spreadsheet. And essentially what we're doing is just what the last 2 columns we're doing. We're not associating to any product. We just have the warehouse column and the picking location column. And this, again, is just dead simple. All we have to do is make sure that if we have this picking location in this warehouse, Advanced Pro will do nothing because this is just creating locations. And if it's new to that warehouse, it will create that location in that warehouse. And you can actually, we could go and we could have a location in warehouse 2 if we wanted. And we happen to have named our warehouses warehouse 1 and warehouse 2 in our copy of Advanced Pro today. You can name your warehouses whatever you like. Just make sure that what you enter here is exactly what you have as the warehouse name in Advanced Pro. So here we could go and create a new picking location if we wanted. So there we have a location in warehouse 2. So we can actually import all of our locations across all of our warehouses in a single spreadsheet. Okay, we're going to come back to Advanced Pro and we'll talk about how to actually import this. So we'll just bring up Advanced Pro. There we go. And at this point now we're going to head over to the MPL tab here. So we're still in admin and the utilities area. And I still recommend doing a backup before you do this. So just going into database and clicking the backup button. But now we're going to come into MPL. And if you don't have picking locations turned on, you will have to click Enforce Picking Location Inventory and Save. And now we'll come into Manage Multiple Picking Locations, Manage MPLs. So here we'll see our MPL Manager. I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see at the very bottom we have Excel Import. We're going to go ahead and click that, and this is very, very similar to the product import from here on in. Just go ahead and browse for our Excel file where we have the information that we need. And at this point, we can go in and grab our file. We'll get our headings right up at the top. And we can associate picking locations to picking locations, warehouses to warehouse. We would hit next. We would get a chance to review our mappings, and then we'd be able to import. And that's how we would bring in our picking locations from an Excel file. That'll go ahead and create them here. Now, a couple things to note is that picking locations have set behaviors, and for both of the importing methods that I've shown today, you're going to get the behavior receiving and shipping by default. That means you could receive into that, and you could ship from that location by default. If you need specific behaviors like shipping only, receiving only, or a storage locations are just for transfers. If you need to create temporary locations, you will need to do that from Advanced Pro directly using this form up at the top. And for more details on that, I really do recommend taking a look at our MPL video, our multiple picking locations video. So this is going to conclude our tour today. If you do have any questions, feel free to enter it into the live chat if you're watching live. And thank you so much for watching.